Hi everyone, so you might be able to tell that I am kind of sticking with the Preptober theme this week, for this week's video, because, as you can tell by the title, I am doing a video that is essentially character names that I would love to use at some point in my writing career. I actually thought I'd do this at this point because, you know, I know that some people might struggle with choosing a main character name for their novel that they're going to write in NaNoWriMo, or if you're struggling for a sidekick name, like side character names. I have 20 boys' names and 20 girls' names, and I actually got the idea for this video because of something that's been going around the internet or YouTube for a while. I'm not entirely sure how long. Gabriella did Baby Names I Love But Won't Be Using video, and I think that's where the inspiration came from. I basically was watching that video and I was thinking of like book names and character names, and I just thought, well, you know, I could put a twist on this trend, and I think we should get straight into these names because otherwise it's going to be a long video. I think I found the boys' names the easiest because I've kind of put them in like my top 5, my top 10, my top 20. Well, obviously because, you know, 20 names for each, but I think I definitely found the boys' names a lot easier to kind of chart, if you know what I mean. I'll work my way down, so if we start with, do we start with boys' names or girls' names? Well, ladies first, so we'll do girls' names first, and we're going to start from 20, so number 20, because I have actually got a list with numbers along the side, and I'm glad you didn't see all of that because otherwise there would have been no point in this. Anyway, girl's name 20 is actually London. Now, this isn't the only location name actually in my girls list. If I really couldn't pick a main character name, it would probably be a location name, and I just think London is short and simple, and you can't really shorten it either, which I actually do a lot of in this girls list. And then number 19 is Sapphira, or Saf for short, because I think with a lot of names people do have a tendency to shorten them, so I guess you'd want to pick an easy name to shorten, and to be honest, I just quite like the name Saf, but I don't like the name Sapphire. I prefer Sapphira. Number 18, Celeste. Now, I think this name is actually French, I'm not entirely sure. It's an easy name, you can't really shorten it, so it's fine. And character names, well, when it comes to naming a character, sometimes you do need something a bit more unique, a bit more different, a bit more out there. So I feel like I have got a good collection of those sort of names in my list, and Celeste just happens to be one of them. I just think it's a really cool name. I don't know if I would prefer Celeste or Celesta. I'm not entirely sure on that. Yeah, but I just think it's a really cool name and it sounds good as well. Number 17 is Chelsea. Another place, isn't it? It's a place. Because, you know, like, you've got that TV show Made in Chelsea. So, yeah, it's basically about people from Chelsea. And also, it's a cool name as well. Like, if you're gonna write, I don't know, if you were to write a contemporary, modern, YA book, young adult, did I say that? Yeah, I said YA. I feel like Chelsea is a good name for that. Number 16 is maybe a bit of more common name, but I think that, you know, if you're going to write a YA contemporary book, perfect. And it is Victoria. You can shorten it to Vicky, Vic, you know, whatever floats your boat, I guess. And I just think it's a really cool name. You could even shorten it to Tori, I guess. It could also be a name for if you were to write a book that's set in like the 19th century or within the Victorian era. I'm terrible at that pronunciation, sorry. But if you were to write a book kind of like that's set in the past, then I think it's also a really good name to use. I just think the name Victoria is quite flexible. And then number 15 is something a bit different, and it is Kenzie. Now, some of you might think that this is a shortened version of Mackenzie, but it's not. It's actually a shortened version, or what I think anyway. It's actually a shortened version of Kensington, but like, I would never, if I was to have a character in my book that was called Kenzie, I would never use Kensington in the book, because it's just like, I feel like a lot of people would be like, huh? You know, just, it's a bit like what Gabriella was saying, or Gabby, about the fact that it sounds a bit weird and a bit odd and a bit like, huh? What's that from? What? You know what I mean? Is that a place? Because if it is, it's another location name. I feel like it might be. The next one, so number 14, is actually Alicia. And I am putting all of the names up in this corner here, so you can kind of like see the spelling of the names and everything like that. But I just kind of like this spelling here. I don't really know, but I just don't like the normal version, I guess, like Alicia. I don't like that spelling, and I just feel like it would be quite good for if you were writing like a short story and you just needed a quick name to think of, you know, Alicia, boom, you've got a name to put on paper. And then the next one, so number 13, is Jasmine, and it's just the normal spelling. And then the number 12 is Holly, and with an IE, because for some reason I just think that IE is more feminine than a Y. And are we in the top 10 yet? No, we're not. So number 11, so not quite in my top 10, is actually Vienna. Another location name, but I think it would sound cool in a novel, like, okay, you have a character called Vienna, I'm going to shorten it to V, that's completely fine. So, top 10. Number 10 is actually Naomi. Number 9 is Molly, again with the IE. I just prefer it, it's my personal opinion, no hate. Number 8 is Louisa, and I actually got the inspiration for this name by thinking about Louise Pentland. It's so weird because you're thinking of someone's name and you're kind of thinking like, oh, well, how could I change this? How could I use this name in a book or change it up, whatever you fancy? And then I actually remembered earlier that Louisa is the main character name, is the main character in Me Before You. Number 7 is Beth. This is just a really short name. It is like a shortened version of Bethany or Elizabeth, any of those kind of names. Elizabeth is actually my middle name. Well, duh, because my channel name is Chloe Elizabeth. I just think that the name Beth is very short, very sweet, and just very easy for people to remember. Just very easy. Number 6 is Penny, or Penelope, but I prefer Penny. My top 5 girls' names. These are the names that I would go to and choose out of if I was struggling to pick out a name for a character. Number 5 is Xanthi with an X. Number 4 is Giselle. Number 3, which is Hermione. Number 2, exciting, is the name Noel. I believe it actually means Christmas in French. It's a French name, which means Christmas, I think, if I remember rightly. And number 1 is actually very unusual. I like it and I think it looks cool. And it is the name Zyla, either with an X or a Z. I couldn't decide between the two, so I just put the 2 in here. I just think it looks so cool. I think I would probably use the Z, because if I was to use the name Xanthi and Zyla in the same novel, I would use the X for Xanthi and then use the Z for Zyla. And then we move on to boys' names. Number 20 is Knight. I just, if I had absolutely no clue what to name a character, yeah, cool, just call him Knight. Not got much to say about that one. So number 19 is Horatio, and I really like this name. If I remember rightly, it's Italian, I want to say, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Apologies. I just think it's so cool. And if I remember rightly, horology is actually the study of time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. Number 18 is Horace, and this is actually quite similar to Horatio, but I like it. I think that, if I was going to write another fantasy royal book, the king would definitely be called Horace. I just love the name, and I think it's so cool. And then number 17 is Kingsley. Number 16 is Eros. And if I remember rightly, I was scrolling through the Greek gods and goddesses and found this name and thought it looked quite cool. So, if I was to ever write something that had a bit of Greek mythology in, then I would definitely use this name. But otherwise, I probably wouldn't, because it would just be quite weird. Number 15 is the name Kyle. Very simple, very common. I would probably use this if I was writing a contemporary YA. Number 14 is Jude. It is the Beatles. It is inspired by the Beatles, I think. I just think it's a cool name. And I remember actually when I used to play golf, I was with a load of boys, and there was someone called Jude in my group that I was playing golf with, that I was learning to play golf, and I have just thought it was so cool ever since. Number 13 is Cove. Now, yes, this is inspired from Gabby's video. Can't actually remember which one. Might have been the first one. The reason why this isn't in my top 10 is because I'd probably use it in a short story, if I was writing a short story based around the seaside, I guess. I don't know. So number 12 is Carter. Now, Carter is a unisex name, but I think I prefer it for a boy for a male character. I'm actually laughing at my next one. I don't know why I wrote it down. I just thought of, I don't know what I was thinking of. But number 11 is the name Cornelius. I don't know why this is on my list, but I feel like if I'm writing maybe kind of like Royals of Adine, I guess. If I was writing a book like that, like the antagonist had a sidekick, the sidekick would probably be called Cornelius, because then the antagonist can be like, shut up, Cornelius. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those funny, humorous names that I would use as a sidekick, not a main character. I just feel like using it as a main character name is pushing it. I was thinking of this name because my sister says the name Cornelius quite a lot. Oh my god, my battery is flashing. I need to hurry up. Number 10. I'm not going to discuss the next 5 names. So number 10 is Bailey. Number 9 is Caleb. Casualty inspired because Caleb Knight died. Number 8 is Harrison. Not shortened to Harry. I don't like it. Harrison. Number 7, Leo. And number 6 is Noah. And now we move on to the top 5. My number 5 is actually Ruben. And this was inspired by the boy that went on BGT last year? Or was it this year? It must have been this year. He was called Ruben Gray, if I remember rightly. And I just thought the name was so cool when he was like saying his name, you know what I mean? Like, you hear someone say their name and you think, oh my god, that's so cool, got to use that in a book. And number 4 is Skylar. I think this is mainly inspired from Pitch Perfect because I think it's the man that plays Jesse that his real name is Skylar. I might be wrong with that. So correct me if I'm wrong. But my number 3 is Matthias or Matthias. Matthias? I'm not really sure how to pronounce this name because I just don't know. If I remember rightly, I discovered this name when I was searching up Austrian names for Secrets of a Singer series. Number 2 is Grayson. I just really like the name. It sounds really cool. And then number 1 is the name Bradley, but with 2 different spellings because I couldn't decide on which because I think they both look really cool. And that is it for my list of names. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also subscribe down below and I will see you next week if you do. Bye!